about what's happening here in July. And as always, hopefully you guys have seen this section before. But remember, Message Center is really one of those things that changes constantly. There's always things in there. I'm hitting the high points. Otherwise, it would take like half of our event today, just going through everything. So I'm hitting some of the high points in here, but make sure that you guys are taking this information and disseminating it out into your team so that they are ready for this stuff. Or at least if it's come out already, know why what's going on with it. So keep that in mind. So for July 31st, we're going to start off with in the 365 Suite Admin Center piece. There's some usage reports wrapped around specifically around Copilot, but if you are doing a pay-as-you-go billing for Microsoft Copilot, you're going to get some new reports that are going to be coming out to really able to understand who's using it, what's going on there. Things like, what's a couple of things you have to do. Number one, you have to have pay-as-you-go. You also have to have enabled agent usage also should be a part of that. And then you'll get those that report that really focuses on message consumption, right? So you'll be able to dive into tenant, user, agent, even agent user levels to be able to see what's going on at each level of that. Also, you can add alerts, or I believe it may be automatically set up for users that are consuming anything over 2K in messages. So keep that in mind. Let your administrators know this is coming in September, and this is worldwide at this point, 2025, and this is preview, right? So you actually have to be in the preview loop to be able to see that and access it. So, all right, let's go on to the next one. Never believe I've ever done one on Microsoft Edge, but I thought this might be a good one because I think this is a change that was already pushed, that you may be seeing these tickets come into your service desk because of, hey, why is this happening now? Basically, Microsoft Edge, if you have that deployed within your organization, is changing how it's handled external links, right? So inside Edge, you have, in a lot of these browsers, you have the ability to be able to set up multiple profiles. Well, if in Edge you have not only your Microsoft Entra ID, right, profile set up, and you have other ones set up, what it's going to do is it's automatically going to go to that Microsoft Entra ID profile and none of the other ones, right? So prior, it was last used profile. So if I have maybe a personal Microsoft account that I've been using for a lot of things, it would go to that because that was the last one I was using. Well, now it's going to go automatically to your Microsoft 365 account that you have logged in. So keep that in mind. This is going to happen automatically. Can you change it back? Yes, you can. There is settings inside Edge that you can do that, which is also available through being able to set that up as an administrator. So make sure you're letting users know that this change has already happened. In fact, it's already out there in the wild. Get ready. All right, let's jump to Teams. A lot of these changes, a lot of these updates this week or this month are around focusing on Teams. So you may have remembered probably about a month or two ago, we had a new compact for when you get a call, you have a compact size for those notifications. Well, now we're going a step farther. Now we're saying at all notifications, I'm going to be able to choose between compact or standard sizes when they come in, especially for a notification, whether it be in Teams, maybe it's that call, those types of things, right? So that pop-up. Before we also said we can go left, right, bottoms, top, whatever. Now we have regular, right, comfy versus compact is available or will be available. Targeted here in July, first part of July, worldwide at the end of the month, and then GCC, GCCH, and DoD in late July. So make sure you're letting your users know this is an option because people like that real estate and they want to be able to minimize what's going on with that, okay? Another Teams, we are talking about Copilot specifically, enhanced agent experience with your chats and channels. And this is going to be kind of relevant to what Heidi's going to be talking about a little bit later on around agents. And by the way, when they are in your teams, right? So being able to see and add an agent easily when I'm either in a chat or channel type scenario. So if I go into the people roster icon area, you'll start seeing this add agent and bots option. And then from there, you can then choose what agent or bot you want. And what it's going to do is it's going to keep that chat up and running. Where before, when I tried to do that, then it would go into the apps area and the chat and bots and totally take me out of that chat and channel experience. So now everything is there. And by the way, this is one of those things that, yes, it's been here for a little while. This experience has changed because of customer feedback. And this is that customer feedback loop that we have available or you have available to be able to say, hey, this does not make sense at all. This would be one of those scenarios where that really did make a difference as they brought this out to you guys. By the way, if you're targeted, it's already available. It's out there. They haven't posted yet when that update for general availability is going to happen, but make sure you go back to that post later on when they make those updates. All right, so then the next one is, again, another Teams focus, but first run and prompting users to release previous reservations. This is all based off of bookable desks. And if you're not familiar with this capability is wrapped around having hoteling in your organization and being able to have designated bookable desks for people to be able to reserve for that particular day if I'm coming into the office and doing things there. So things like being able to plug in and it automatically will reserve that for you. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that previously to this, it wouldn't necessarily release it after a certain amount of time. You actually have to know where to go and do that. Well, this is making it easier. So there's two parts to this. The first one is called First Run. That's happening here in mid-July to early August. The second one is multiple desk notifications, and that's happening in late July to mid-August. The first thing, so let's talk about the First Run experience. So when the First Run experience happens, it will inform the user that, number one, why are you receiving this message? Number two, it's going to then say, hey, by the way, do you want to release the previous versions of, maybe it was a different desk you were in. So you want to release those previous versions of the bookable desk that you did. So you have two pieces to this that are going to be releasing at different times, but they're related to the same idea, right? That idea is, hey, I want to make sure that this desk is released for someone else to be able to use. And then at that point, it will say, hey, do you want to release it for other people to use? Yes, I do. And then it will actually do that process. So as things are progressing, if you're using bookable desks, great. This is something that you really want to make sure you get out there and let people know what's going on. If you're not using it, you should maybe think about this. This is a good opportunity for you guys to be able to have, a better hoteling system than you maybe consistently have right now. All right, some things on Teams meetings, especially around the live captions and transcripts. This is rolling out here July and August between the different channels that you have, but really there's two parts to this. First off, it's live captions, and it's just going to be a little bit easier for the people who use live captions to be able to scroll and review from this, as opposed to have a go if transcript is not necessarily enabled in those pieces. You can use that to be able to see who said what and when and where, why. Also, on top of that, they're adding a protective sensitivity content piece to this and preventing people from copying captions from live. By the way, this is disabled by default, right? So you will not be able to copy text from live captions. That's something I believe a setting would be set up so that you can then, if you choose to do that, allow people to do it. And then what's going to also happen is that some people go into if you open up the transcript panel on the right-hand side, it's going to post a message saying, hey, don't you think it would be better if you utilize the live captions piece, right? So it's going to point them to the live captions as opposed to using transcript. It's a much better experience when you from that live caption area. So Again, this is happening here in July and August. Make sure you're letting people know that this is happening here shortly. All right, something on the side of the being able to really give content to these external users. So the new file attachment feature in one-on-one and group chats is coming out here, started already in targeted and worldwide. Is going to be happening by the end of the month. This is really for your external one-on-one and group chats that you have. Now you'll be able to really set up and say, hey, I want to be able to share this externally with somebody, right? Doesn't matter what kind of an account that they have, either a guest or a non-guest account. You'll be able to post that in there. They will be able to actually post content in there as well. And what's going to do is it's going to then say, hey, by the way, this is an external file for those people who are not in that particular person's tenant. This feature, by the way, is off by default. As an administrator, you're going to have to go in and use PowerShell to be able to make that change. But understand, look at it, understand what it does, and if this is something that's useful for your organization, then make sure you go through your change management process and get the word out. I found this was kind of interesting, and I've been waiting for something like this for quite a while. I know I've been a part of some meetings that need to be very, very structured, right? So we have to keep on time and make sure we're ready to go at certain times, and we have our agenda to hit. So coming here in worldwide, early July to late July, is the countdown timer for Teams meetings. And this will give you the ability to be able to set up a timer and say, hey, I mean, I have potentially having 100 minutes for this timer. I can start, pause, stop, reset, and cancel as needed. It comes with visual and audio cues to let us know what's going on with that, so I don't have to have it right up front at all times. Plus, the color will change as the time runs out. You do have the hide option for individual users. So if I'm the one who created it and any of you are in that particular meeting, you'd be able to hide it. Maybe it's for me primarily, don't need anybody else seeing it, that type of thing. Plus, if you do run out of time, it will actually continually count down. So it'll go minus, right? So maybe we're a minute beyond our scheduled time until I hit the cancel button, then it's going to stop it permanently. Also know that this is only going to be in for scheduled meetings. It's not for any one-on-one meetings, any of those types of things. It's only scheduled meetings, not town hall, not webinar type scenarios. All right. And then jumping to the green room side of things from town hall, webinars, and structured meetings. This is available now. So if I had this meeting, this event was set up as a town hall or a webinar, then I would be able to say, hey, I want to promote somebody as an attendee into the green room. Now, if you guys are not familiar with the green room, this is that pre-meeting meeting for all organizers and presenters, right? It's just to make sure everything is okay before you start that meeting off. And if you were at last month's event where we talked about it, Nick and I talked about it, it's really a really cool feature that gives you a lot of benefit without having to spin up a secondary meeting and do things. It's all part of that one event that you're doing. Well, if, for instance, maybe somebody registered and we need to bring them in as a presenter, maybe they're supposed to be a presenter and for some reason they came in as an attendee, now I'm going to be able to promote them in to the green room beforehand and make them a presenter before the event starts. So it's going to be a lot better scenario for your organization management, or I should say for your event management. And just understand, this is going to work with your Teams desktop, right? Windows desktop, Mac desktop, and Teams for web. And please make sure you let your organizers know that this capability is available starting now. Outside of that, some quick mentions, some things that I thought were pretty interesting overall. First one is on the Exchange side, being able to have multi-geo in-region routing. And that basically means is that based off of the user location, their regional data or their data will stay within that particular region. Okay, big one. This one is going to be interesting. Either thumbs up or applaud or whatever. How many of you guys ever use the reuse slides button in PowerPoint? And some people are like, I didn't even know that existed. Well, guess what? I'm sorry, it's being deprecated. And I was literally looking at LinkedIn this morning, and I already saw somebody that's trying to get a community buildup of be able to not deprecate this, but just understand that that's going away starting July 31st. So really not much of a opportunity to be able to do anything with this because it's happening pretty quickly here. They're retiring it. They're saying it's due to redundancy. And there's other ways to be able to do that exact same thing. So, all right. Outside of that, some changes. If you're doing anything with licensing and you need to manage licenses within your 365 organization, there's a little change happening here, and it should be out here quickly, that you'll be able to look at licenses page, and then you'll be able to see where users are given directly that individual license, or they're given that license via group. Right, so that change is going to make it easier for you to be able to differentiate between it. And by the way, the experience has changed a little bit. They're going to be two different tabs, so it doesn't take so long to be able to refresh. That's going to be important to keep in mind. Some change as far as Word and being able to access third-party citations like MLA, APA, and Chicago writing style. We talked not that long ago, we had Brittany in to be able to talk about Microsoft Places, and she mentioned this is coming. It's coming in August. We have some built-in admin roles that are going to be happening specifically around Microsoft Places that you can take advantage of. There's some changes in the meeting search experience within Microsoft Teams Desktop. You're going to get a more robust, better looking experience when you're searching through your meetings and being able to find things, including, hey, if they're coming up, I can join from there if I need to. I can review and access the meeting content as necessary from that search. So it's a lot more information that's going to be available that way. And then offline support for Exchange, you'll be able to do things with events, like create, edit, and delete when you're offline, and then they will upload when you come back on. And by the way, of course, like everything else new, it's going to be in new Outlook for Windows Experience first. So keep that in mind. Last but not least, just to make sure you guys are up on the admin actions. For right now, I did take off the live events piece because there's still not a date on that. But if you remember from when Nick and I were talking about it, things are getting closer and closer and closer, that there's going to be parity between town hall, webinar, and live event, that eventually that live event date will happen again. But just to keep these things in mind, last time I think I talked about the alerts retirement that is happening here. The new one is the speaker coach. And if any of you guys use that in Teams, you were on preview. And by the way, it never got out of preview. It always stayed in preview. And starting in mid-August to late August, the feature is going to be deprecated and retired just because of lack of usage. And they decided not to move ahead with that just because there weren't a lot of people utilizing it at that point. So that's another thing to keep in mind, especially if your organization used it. All right. Well, I think that's all I have for this time. Michelle?
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Donald. That was a great summary. Of course, always go into your message center, read them if you need to get more information, because as you open up any of the change, it's really cool because it comes out and says, you know, what you really need to do, the impact from the end user perspective, or an impact to admins, and maybe change management activities that you need to do to help inform all of your end users. So I always recommend go in there, review it, and of course, listen to Donald because he's got a great summary every single month. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.